What's happening, everybody? It's your man, Damednydc. Two mics up. It's Monday night. Now, tonight's a very, 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 and I'm going to throw it in there again, very special night. Mostly because, one, we are closing out season 5. This is our 150th episode of Two Mics Up. 150 episodes, and I couldn't think of a better way to close out season 5. With an amazing guest that's going to join me on the other mic tonight. And she's going to be giving us some real education on how to elevate your profits. And this is really her specialty. And this sister is one of the baddest women out here that I've come across. In her field and in her profession, and she's going to take some time tonight to really share that with us. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring, the amazing Kellé Thorpe to the mic. Thank you, Kelle. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. How are you?
Thank you so much, Dane. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm fabulous. How are you today?
Oh, look, I love it. I love it when I always say this, when you see that smile and you see that energy from you guys, it just makes it just that much more pleasant. And I'm really excited. Like you can't see it, but my hairs are standing. But I really want to dig in and really jump in because you're really phenomenal. And I say that in the sense from really having the time to dig in and really learn about you. You really help others really work and develop, but without burning themselves out. Now I'm going to step away. I want you to really open up with that because a lot of people don't even know at times. First of all, what is a fractional CFO? And then a lot of us don't even know that we need it at times. So could you just kind of open there and kind of talk about what a fractional CFO is and why some of us may need us or when we may need you?
Yeah, most definitely. So, yes, I am Kellé Thorpe from Kommas with Kelle, and I am a fractional CFO to small business owners. What we do at my firm is we take on your bookkeeping and accounting, but what sets us apart is we give you tailor-made financial strategy so you can know how to be sustainably profitable in your business and optimize your productivity and stop burning yourself out. So a fractional CFO is basically just as it sounds. We are a CFO for your business for a fraction of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So how I tell people all the time is Fortune 500 companies did not wait until they got to Fortune 500 to need financial strategy and to build a business around their financial strategy. They had an accounting department, a director of finance, or a CFO to help them build those strategies to get there. So it's a large part of what I saw when I transitioned to entrepreneurship that was missing in a lot of small businesses as they don't think about their financial strategy. Most go straight to what they're familiar with, and that's usually a bookkeeper or a CPA or a tax person.
Yep.
And no one's thinking, well, who's helping me with my financial strategy so I can be sustainable?
And that is so true. I'm saying as you're talking, I'm like, again, like I said, being a small business owner, you go with what you know and kind of I guess what you say, general practices are, right? It's mind blowing to me. Sometimes it's good to step back and really have someone else and sit down with someone else who can really guide you and navigate you through and really help you, I guess, really meet your goal. Because there should be a goal, right? And by having that fractional person to kind of really break that down for you and help you reach that goal, it really makes a lot of sense. But I have to ask with that, Kelle, though, like, because a lot of us, it doesn't come to us naturally, right? And for you, it sounded like this was something that came natural. Was this always something, that you wanted to do or that you were interested in from a young age?
Yes. So I knew I wanted to be an accountant from the age of 16. And
Wow.
how I can vividly remember it is because a high school friend, actually, we did a cotillion together.
Mhm.
And he actually sent me the book from the cotillion where my bio was. And my closer was, I wanted to be an accountant or a police dispatcher.
What?
Yes, that's
What?
15 years. Yes. So, and it's funny because I tell people I am not your typical accountant where numbers has always been like my niche and my whiz. Um, I think a lot of people are typically surprised that I am an accountant because
Mhm.
I'm usually a lot more outgoing than most people that sit behind a spreadsheet that's in the but what I appreciate, and I know even from that age when I was in AP classes and taking calculus in high school, I appreciated that the numbers were the numbers. Like
Mhm.
life is so gray and you just never know what's happening or what's going to happen and what's ahead. And
Right.
the one thing that you can be for certain is 1 + 1 will always equal 2.
That's right.
And I figured very early on, if I'm going to have a lot of gray ahead of me, I'm going to join a field that's very black and white, right?
I love it.
So I did. I knew I wanted to be an accountant from an early age. Now that looked very differently throughout my career. I have always been in the field of accounting, but I've been in different roles in
Mhm.
accounting. And my last corporate role was a C-suite position where I had
Okay.
a dual role as a CFO and the chief administrative
Oh,
officer of
wow.
a firm.
Wow. Mhm.
But transitioning, I never knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur or a business owner. That was not something that I ever even thought of.
Really?
It literally just fell in my lap. I loved corporate.
Mhm.
I love the roles that I had in corporate because I enjoyed pouring into people and building great teams.
Right, right.
And I would always be that person that would take on the messy job. And I would tell the partners, because usually at that level, that's who you're reporting to, the
Mhm.
owners or the partners of the firm. And I would tell them all the time, don't hire me if you're not ready for change,
All right.
because I'm
Yeah.
not that person that's
Person.
going to go with the status quo.
Right.
And I enjoy building people and putting them in the right seats. I didn't hire
Mm.
people that just needed a job. It was important that you actually were in your zone of genius.
Yeah.
So it
Love
is amazing to me now. I'm 3 years into my own business, and a lot of what I didn't even realize that God was putting into me to have this business
it. Yeah.
is now
Nice.
transforming
Transition.
into that now, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's exactly where it came from. I am grateful for where I am, but my position in entrepreneurship just came from a couple of attorneys that started their firms in sole practice and asked me to help set up their accounting departments.
Wow.
And again, I was in that dual role as a C-suite executive, very busy, but I told them, I'll help you on the weekends, I'll help you in the evenings when I can.
Yeah. Mhm.
And after doing that and duplicating that, I realized this is a thing, because it would come to a point where they didn't want me to pass it off to the people and
Oh,
do things
wow.
internally.
Wow.
I would build their teams and they were like, but can you still act as a CFO and continue to give a strategy? And I'm like, well, that's what I'm going to train your team to do.
Team to do.
Like,
Right.
no, we want you to do it.
Right.
So initially, I didn't even know, honestly, that it was a missing component in entrepreneur space. I
Right.
knew they had bookkeepers, but I didn't realize I was giving financial strategy, because
Strategy.
at this point, I had been in this career as a CFO doing this.
Right.
So it was
Right.
just,
That's natural to you.
yeah.
Mhm.
So when I first launched my firm, I did brand myself as a bookkeeping and tax preparation firm.
Wow.
And it wasn't until about a year or so ago I got a business coach, and she was like, okay, well, tell me what you do. And when I told her, she was like, this is not bookkeeping. This
Right.
is not, it's
That's
not.
next level. You next level.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely next level.
Yeah, most definitely. So that's how it came about. I knew I always wanted to be an accountant, but God knows I didn't know that I would have my own accounting firm at this point in my life. Yeah.
I love it. You talk about your journey, and it's really amazing because wearing multiple hats, and really what I want to hone in on, really as a woman of color, in the financial field. I mean, just being a woman of color, look, let's just call it what it is. It's tough every day, but to be in that financial realm, which, let's be honest, probably mostly male dominated and orientated. How did you find space really to not even space, but how did you create space for yourself to be able to successfully navigate, some of the challenges that you may have faced? And I know it had to be really, both personally, because sometimes it's a personal challenge, but then in your career, so that you can, continue as, like I like to say, looking at you, you was, moving up and showing out. So, how did you navigate it? Because I think that's important for people to hear and understand that sometimes you're not the only one, that's had to navigate through a struggle.
Yeah, no, most definitely. So yeah, you're right. In the finance realm, period, it is a very male dominated field. So initially for me, I've always been pretty driven and I've always took the next step ahead, even if I was scared, even if I was unsure, I would take it scared. I might cry, I might vomit before, but I'm going to do it scared. That's just how I've always been. And quite frankly, it's how I moved up in my career at such a fast pace because it wasn't because I was always qualified, to be honest. It was because they saw my ambition and I did it scared.
Right.
So when I moved to a CFO role, it was no different, right? I just did it scared and I had worked my way up in these different positions to a place where I was afraid, but I knew that I had to keep going. And I remember, honestly, I was not my biggest. I remember I was a billing clerk at a law firm that had over 10,000 attorneys in it.
Wow.
And they hired a COO to start working there. She was a woman. It was a woman, and it was one of the first women in the C-suite at the firm. And of course, you can only imagine the number of people between me and her.
Right.
But I remember it was her first or second day, and I went up to her office and I introduced myself to her, and I told her, I'm a billing clerk downstairs, and if you ever want somebody to come and just sit and help you strategize about anything or do a roundtable discussion, I'm downstairs and I'm the billing clerk. From that point on, she just took me in because she was so surprised that I had that initiative, right?
Right.
So that was just always how I was built, I feel like. But that still doesn't mean I wasn't afraid. It was just the outer shell was pretty hard and I could project very well. It wasn't until the world shut down March 16, 2020 in COVID. I started a new role that day. It was my first day on the job at that dual position where I was the CFO, CAO at a $27 million lobbying firm on Capitol Hill.
Wow.
And I was the only Black woman in the firm.
Wow.
And I was the only second Black person that worked in the firm. There was only 2 Black people in the firm. And I was in the C-suite position, right?
Wow.
At a very politically driven time, here I am at a lobbying firm in this very position as a Black woman. That was the biggest challenge I had ever faced in my career. And how I overcame that was leaning on my faith and just knowing God built me for this. They're no different than I am. I don't care what color they are. As a matter of fact, I'm more experienced. That's why they have me in this role, right? They did not bring a Black woman who interviewed with braids at the time in this role if I was not qualified or more than qualified in the financial aspects than they were. So I just had to stay focused in that and stay grounded in that. And like I said, the first day was COVID. They had never worked virtual. Here I am coming from a firm where I had built them to be virtual 5 years ago. So when COVID happened, those people just took their laptops home. So here I am in a position where I can completely turn this firm around.
Pivot,
It was and it was natural for me. So I just jumped in that seat, and through prayer, meditation, it was the most nerve-wracking because while I was saying all those things to myself, I did feel the pressure. And I'm like, how am I going to do it? I'm not a very political person. How am I going to navigate working in a political firm where everyone's rights? You go in their office, they got Trump bobbleheads or Barack Obama bobbleheads. It's the you're either on one side
one or the other.
Republican or one side you're Democrat, and it's
Right.
written all throughout the office, right?
Wow.
And then Black Lives Matter movement happens 3 months later, and I'm like,
Ooh, whirlwind.
Lord, what are you doing?
Yeah, man. You in a whew, I couldn't
Yeah,
even imagine. That's a straight tornado going on
it
every day.
was.
Every day. Oh
It
my goodness.
was. And I just knew that God was preparing me for something that was
Else.
far bigger than this firm and this position and where it was. Because at the heart, I'm always like, who am I here to serve?
Right.
Who am I here to serve no matter what I'm in? And so literally it's nothing but the supernatural that gets me through
Right.
and got me through that period, because at that time it was tough, because when all of that happened, there was no one to talk to in the firm.
Wow.
When Black Lives Matter was
Wow.
happening. Then the Capitol Hill riots
Yeah,
happened.
right. Yep.
And I'm meeting with a partnership, and I'm the only Black person at the table. And they're like, so what are we going to do to talk about the Capitol Hill riots? Are we going to call everyone in the office? Are we going to have a Zoom? And I'm just in this space of, we've done nothing.
Nothing.
Black Lives Matter movement has been going on for almost 7 months now.
Yeah, ain't did nothing yet.
And now we're sitting here, everyone's just in tears, asking me, how are we going to bring everyone together for the Capitol Hill riots that happened?
Whew.
That was tough. It was very tough. And I spoke up and I said something. When we all did meet, I told them, this is a tough time. And I've been living in this tough time for 6+ my whole life, really. But
right.
Months, if we want to talk about this. And we never sat down to have this conversation then. So it does concern me that we're just now having this conversation.
Wow. That is, listen, that is a heck of a story. It's a heck of a journey, right? And I want people to really take away from it, because see, you can have faith in a lot of things, faith in yourself, faith in the Lord or whoever you believe is your higher power. But a lot of that is already within us.
Yes.
And we just have to step out on our own faith and really go ahead and press forward to make it happen. And I want to put a pin in it right there, because we're going to come back, because as Kelly said, this led her to really even something greater for herself. And we're going to talk about, Kommas with Kelle and Kelly. I'm sorry. And we're going to do that when we come back after the break, because want to take a small pause for the cause, say thank you to our sponsors who have continued to support Two Mics Up through 5 seasons. We'll be back on the other side of this short commercial pause. Be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, fresh out the break with Kellé Thorpe, the amazing fractional CFO. She has really blessed us with some real inner strength and background about, who she was and how she got through her, let's say, her career. But now we're going to talk about her work as an entrepreneur and founder of Kommas with Kelle. Now, I want to sit back for a minute, because I want to allow you to really sit down and take a couple of minutes just to talk about, Kommas with Kelle, and really those who are watching this and listening to this. I want you guys to, really pay attention, and I want you to give them a walkthrough of what some of your services look like, because I want our audience to really reach out, and support you and really learn, how to grow their business without burning out.
Yes, that's the part. So thank you for the opportunity, because that is what I find is a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in our communities, they're killing it. You stepped out on faith and you're doing the thing in your industry. But once you get to that multiple 6-figure mark, it's like, how do I sustain without continuing to add more hours to my schedule? And that's where we come in. So at Kommas with Kelle, we do offer bookkeeping, accounting, tax preparation services. We also take that component and then tell you what the story is behind your numbers, because that's the big piece for sustainability. So there's three buckets where people typically come to us. Some people come, they may have a bookkeeper that they already enjoy working with, and they need that next step of financial strategy. So we can partner with that bookkeeper, get all the reports, get those financial statements that they're emailing you, and you dragging and drop them into a file somewhere and not looking at them till tax. We actually supposed to do something with that's the big part of it. Like, I think that's the big gap that people don't understand. I understand you don't understand them, but find someone that can help you to understand them, because it's important to know when and how to pivot during the year. Because by the time you pull all those reports up in January to file taxes, it's too late. You can't do anything about those numbers at that point in time. The clock then turned over to the new year. So we meet with our clients that are in the financial strategy space on a monthly basis. Again, if you're in our bookkeeping space, we take those reports because we're already doing them and we know your numbers. If you already have a bookkeeper, they send us the reports and we look beyond the numbers. We excavate all the data and figure out, okay, this is where your income is coming in. What are the sources of these income? If you have several different buckets like we do where income is coming in, is that where you want most of your income to be coming in from? Like, you could be burning yourself out and not even working in your zone of genius in your business, which is a huge mistake, because you can go work for somebody else and get burnt out pretty easily. Why would you start your own firm and do it that way? So we look at that, and then we look at your expenses and see, where is your spending? Is there any way we can scale back? Is there any way we can scale up to spend some of this money to lessen your tax liability, but reinvest it in your firm through spending? So those are all the strategies that we put into place as we look at your numbers from the financial strategy side of things, and we begin to implement that strategy, innovate and scale. And then my favorite part is holding true to your vision for your firm, right? Because you often have started a firm and you'll lose sight in the day-to-day work of why you started it, what was your vision. So we're the CFO in your back pocket that every month, every couple of months, when we meet, we tell you, okay, this is the vision. Are you on track for the vision? Are you doing busy work? Where are we with the vision, right?
Like that.
So that's the big part of it. And then we also have a membership space, which I just launched in June of this past year. And that came from entrepreneurs that will come to me and they're not quite ready. They're DIYing their finances. And I tell people all the time, I'm never going to price you in a package that I know you can't afford. I do a deep dive into your finances before we decide to work together. And I can tell, where are you? If I can't get the investment that you're going to pay for my services back 3 times within the first 6 months, then I'm going to package you in something different and we'll work to get there.
Oh, wow.
So that's what the membership space is. It's for people that are still DIYing. They may have a bookkeeper at a lower rate, but they need financial strategy, not quite ready, or can afford the services, and they can get some services there in that space through my master classes, through budgets and templates and different things over there to help you along the way and get there. So that's the big picture of it, is of all of the service packages that we offer.
I mean, just amazing, and blown away. And I mean, I really encourage, our audience, you're watching, you're listening to this. One, take advantage, and I think that's the big thing here on Two Mics Up. I really enjoy highlighting, entrepreneurs and business owners that are really right here in our own backyard that many of us are not aware of. But you can really use their services. And if you're in that space, you feel like you're burning out and spinning your wheels, and you can really use a team that can really give you an extra couple of sets of eyes and information to really help you build and grow. This is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. So reach out there, Kellé Thorpe, Kommas with Kelle. I wish, time flies so fast when you're having great conversations. And, we are at the back end of this conversation. And I really hate to walk away, but I also, Kelle, I want to give you an opportunity, one, to please, share your social media, information with our audience. And if there's maybe one tidbit or piece of advice that you can give to anyone watching or listening to this, please go ahead and just drop us a gem on your way out.
Sure. Again, thanks for having me. They can find me on all social media platforms at Kommas with Kelle. I'm sure that's in the show notes. It's Kommas with a K and Kelle with an E on all social media platforms. Our website is kommaswithkelle.com. And reach out. Don't be afraid. I don't care where you are. I don't care how messy your books are. You're not going to get them straight before coming to me. So it's fine. There's never any judgment. Reach out. The strategy session is free. Let's talk about where you are. It's fine right where you are. And that's what I'll leave people with is don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of who's going to judge you, how someone may be perceived on the outside. Oh, they may know more than me, or they may judge me because I don't have my finances in order. Jump out there. You've taken the step into entrepreneurship. Take the additional step and jump in those scary rooms and do it afraid, because it's people in those rooms that are open and ready and willing to serve in those areas. So just do it afraid.
I love it, man. Powerful conversation today, ladies and gentlemen. 150th episode, season 5 closeout. Couldn't have done it any better. I couldn't be more proud and humble to have had Kellé Thorpe join us and really educate us. Kelle, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule, today to really, just rock with me and share your passion. It really comes through. I love your smile. I love your energy, and continued success to you and everything that you do. And the Lord puts your hands on. Thank you so much.
Right back at you. Thank you so much, Dame.
It's my pleasure. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. I'm your man, Dame Damednydc, humble host of Two Mics Up. We're coming to you Monday nights, 8 p.m. on the #1 network for positive programming, Mogul TV Network. If you feel like you want to follow me, you can follow me across all social media at Damednydc. But please make sure you continue to follow Two Mics Up across all social media, IG, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Yep, we still have our YouTube channel. We're going to get back to that at Two Mics Up. And look, it's been a pleasure. It's been a joy. And I get so much joy out of just sitting here in this space with you all each and every Monday night, on Fridays with my business corner when we go live. I thank you all for your continued support. And you know how I always do as we close out each and every show, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. May you all stay safe, stay blessed. Mike's out. Double 007.